Why Lisa Goes Gaga is the most hated Simpsons episode. Fans have called it the worst Simpsons episode of all time, and not because it was offensive or shocking, it was just off. Hard to believe when you remember this is the same show that gave us Marge vs. the Monorail, Homer at the Bat, and Lisa's Substitute, the kind of episodes people still quote decades later. But then came season 23's finale, Lisa Goes Gaga, an episode that had hype, a global superstar, and not much else. So what went wrong? How did one of TV's smartest shows turn into a 22-minute pop concert? Let's break it down. Segment 1. When things started feeling off. Have you ever watched something and thought, wait, am I still watching the same show? Lisa Goes Gaga aired on May 20th, 2012. It was the final episode of season 23, and it starred one of the biggest pop stars in the world at the time, Lady Gaga. This wasn't the first time The Simpsons brought in a big name. The show always had famous people drop by, but this episode hit different. Definitely not in a good way. By now, fans were already feeling strange about the show. It didn't fall off a cliff all at once, but there was a slow shift. Somewhere around seasons 20 to 23, things started to slip. The show was still going, but something was missing. The jokes didn't land like they used to. The warmth, the heart, the sharp writing, it all started to fade. Some fans were still hanging on. Others were just watching out of habit. Then the news hit. Lady Gaga was going to be in a full episode, and not just any guest role. She'd be the star of the whole thing. It was all over the internet. The trailers made it look huge. Promo pictures showed her in wild outfits, standing next to Homer and Marge. The hype was real. People got curious. Some even got excited. Then the episode aired. Fans didn't get a smart story. They didn't get a sharp parody. They got a full-on Lady Gaga concert in cartoon form. It wasn't really about The Simpsons anymore. It was about showing off Gaga. Her songs, her outfits, her speeches. Springfield became her stage. Fans didn't mind Gaga. That wasn't the problem. The problem was the show felt like it had forgotten what made it great. It didn't even feel like a real Simpsons episode. There was no proper subplot, no family dynamic. The tone was just off. The characters felt hollow, and the whole thing seemed written around the guest star instead of the story. It felt like the show had lost its way, like it had traded its voice for a spotlight. After this, many fans didn't just feel disappointed, they felt done. Segment 2. The basic plots just didn't work. Okay, now let's talk about what actually happens in this thing. The story starts with Lady Gaga riding a glowing musical train into Springfield. It's loud, flashy, and has its own theme music. Gaga changes outfits non-stop while her fans cheer her on. She sees Springfield from the train and notices something odd. Everyone looks miserable, so she decides to stop and help. Meanwhile, Lisa is feeling down. She just got voted the least popular kid at school.
Now the award for least popular student, Lisa Simpson.
What? Least popular?
Instead of dealing with it, she creates a fake online account. She uses it to write good things about herself. She wants people to think that someone out there supports her. But Bart finds out it's fake, and Bart, being Bart, exposes her in front of everyone. That's not how you treat your sister. Now Lisa feels even worse, and it's all thanks to Bart. Lady Gaga senses her sadness. She cancels her big Springfield show and decides to help Lisa personally. She visits the Simpsons' house. They talk. Gaga sings. They talk again. Lisa doesn't accept the help at first, she just yells at Gaga and storms off. But later, she changes her mind. She apologizes, and the two of them sing a duet in public. Everyone claps, and Lisa smiles again. Just before the credits, Mo shows up. He tells Gaga he feels sad too. She brushes him off, and Mo walks onto the train tracks. And yeah, gets hit by a train. That's how the episode ends. That's it. That's the whole plot. There's no B-story, no side plot with Homer, Bart, or Marge, no classic weird side adventure, nothing to cut away to. The whole thing focuses on Gaga and Lisa, and even that story feels thin. There's no real build-up, no strong emotional turn. It just sort of happens and then it's over. For a show known for clever setups and layered jokes, this one felt flat. The plot had no balance. It just followed Gaga around Springfield while Lisa cried and changed her mind. Segment 3. Lisa was written totally wrong. The story wasn't the only thing off. Lisa's whole personality felt out of place. Lisa has always been one of the smartest and most thoughtful characters in the show. She's usually the voice of reason. She's the one who reads, questions things, and stands up for what she believes in. But in this episode, that version of Lisa disappears. Instead of being strong or curious, Lisa's mopey, dishonest, and honestly kind of shallow. Her big problem? She's not popular at school. That's it. And while Lisa has struggled with fitting in before, this time it felt different. She doesn't talk to her family or write in her journal like we've seen her do in other episodes. Instead, she creates a fake online account and uses it to post good things about herself. She acts like a random fan is writing these messages just to feel seen. That's not like her. Lisa usually cares more about doing the right thing than chasing attention. In past seasons, she stood up to her classmates, even if it made her unpopular. This time, she just fakes praise and lies to everyone. Then she lashes out at Gaga in a scene that feels forced. She blames Gaga for trying to help her, and while it's meant to show Lisa hitting a low point, it's just lame. It comes out of nowhere. There's no slow build, no deep moment. Later, Lisa says sorry and sings with Gaga. Random. 1 minute she's furious, and the next she's smiling on stage. Fans had a hard time connecting with this version of her. It didn't feel like the same Lisa they grew up with. This version of Lisa was more annoying than usual, and not in a funny Simpsons kind of way. Her sadness felt hollow. Her choices didn't fit her usual character. It was like someone else wrote her and didn't know who she was. Segment 4. The episode feels like a Lady Gaga ad. Now let's talk about why this episode felt more like a commercial than a cartoon.
Gaga, ooh la la, Gaga, ra-ma-ma.
This wasn't just a guest star appearance. This was the Lady Gaga show, animated by The Simpsons. Most of the episode is focused on her. From the moment she shows up in her glowing train, everything shifts. It's not about Lisa, it's not about the family, it's Gaga's spotlight. She performs songs, she gives speeches, she wears outfit after outfit. In fact, the showrunners confirmed they gave her 18 different outfits in this episode. That's not a joke, that's real. Her character floats through town giving advice, cheering people up, and doing full musical numbers. Seriously, this isn't a world tour by Mother Teresa. This is Lady Gaga, that odd pop star. The Simpsons barely do anything. Bart has one moment where he exposes Lisa's fake blog. Marge and Homer mostly stand around reacting. Even Lisa gets pushed aside in parts of her own story. Some of the scenes don't even take place in the real Springfield. There's a moment where Gaga flies over the town in a Firebird suit. Another where she uses some kind of emotion detector. Very weird. It all feels like more a tour video than a sitcom episode. Even Lady Gaga fans thought it was too much. Online, you can find people who love her music saying, this wasn't it. It felt like a plug, like the whole episode was meant to boost her brand instead of telling a story. And to be clear, this is not hate for Gaga. Most people like her as a singer and performer. But that's the thing. The Simpsons isn't just supposed to be a concert stage. It's supposed to be a cartoon about a weird, broken family in a funny little town. The show has done celebrity cameos for years. Leonard Nimoy, Paul McCartney, or even Michael Jackson. Those episodes still felt like The Simpsons. The guests added flavor. They didn't take over the kitchen. But here, Gaga didn't just visit Springfield. She replaced it. The show stopped being about the town or the family. It turned into a giant tribute, and the people it was supposed to be about were pushed to the side. Segment 5. Forced messages and flat comedy. Now, if the story felt off, the message and the comedy didn't help either.
Conductor, you know the rules. Take off some clothes.
Yes, ma'am.
This episode clearly wanted to send a message. It pushed themes like self-love, confidence, finding your inner strength. But the message didn't really land. It felt forced and rushed. The idea of Lisa feeling alone and learning to believe in herself isn't a bad one. The Simpsons has told emotional stories like that before and done them well. But here, there was no real build-up. Gaga shows up, says a few inspiring things, sings a few songs, and suddenly Lisa feels better. It skips the work and jumps to the ending. The comedy didn't save it either. A lot of the jokes were dry or just too safe. It was missing the clever writing the show used to have. Even the classic side gags and cutaway jokes were barely there. What we got instead were music scenes that felt like filler. There were so many songs that it felt like they were stretching time. And not in a fun musical way either. More like they didn't have enough material, so they padded it with music. The final joke with Moe was also weird. He shows up, tells Gaga he's sad too, and asks for help. She doesn't bother, and Moe just gets hit by the train.
Can you help me with my self-esteem?
I'm not that good.
Right, gotcha.
That's the joke. It's awkward, not funny, and it doesn't fit the tone of the ending at all. The episode clearly wanted to be uplifting. It wanted to show growth and healing, but it pushed too hard. And instead of feeling warm or heartfelt, it just felt awkward and kind of empty. There was no spark, no sharp wit, no emotion that stuck with you, just a loud, shiny message that faded fast. Segment 6. No subtlety, just noise. Compared to older episodes, this one felt like it was shouting the whole time. In its best years, The Simpsons knew how to say something without actually saying it. A look, a background sign, one short line of dialogue, that was enough. The jokes were smart, the emotion felt real. You didn't need a speech to get to the point. Lisa Goes Gaga goes in the opposite direction. Every idea is spelled out loud and clear. Gaga says she's here to help. Lisa says she's sad. Then Gaga tells her exactly how to feel. Again and again and again. There's one scene where Gaga literally gets spiritual signals that someone from Springfield needs help. It's supposed to be a joke, but it feels like the writers were waving a neon sign at the audience. Hey, Springfield is sad. Gaga will fix it. And it's not just the dialogue. The songs repeat the same lines over and over. Lisa's feelings are sung back to her. Gaga's message is repeated in new costumes every 5 minutes. The emotional stuff doesn't sneak up on you. It slaps you in the face. Compare that to something like Lisa's Substitute. That episode barely needed music or speeches. Mr. Bergstrom said one quiet sentence and it stuck with fans for decades. Lisa Goes Gaga had the same setup. Lisa feeling invisible and lost, but it didn't trust silence. It didn't trust the audience. Instead of emotion, we got volume. Instead of depth, we got glitter. Segment 7. Fans called it the worst. Let's look at how hard this episode flopped with the people who actually watched it. When Lisa Goes Gaga aired, it didn't just get a few bad reviews. It got blasted by the fans. On IMDb, the episode sits at around 4 out of 10, making it one of the lowest rated Simpsons episodes ever. For a show that once lived in the 8s and 9s, that number says a lot. Reddit threads, fan forums, and review sites were flooded with comments. People called it the worst episode ever. Others called it unwatchable, embarrassing, or just plain weird. And it wasn't just a few loud voices. The reaction was huge. It also landed on tons of worst episodes lists. Ranker users voted it to the very bottom. Sites like Screen Rant and What Culture also named it among the lowest points in the show's history. But this wasn't just hate for the sake of it. A lot of fans said the episode felt like a betrayal. They'd watched Lisa growing up. They'd seen how much heart she could have. Then this episode comes along and turns her into a flat, confused version of herself, just to prop up a guest star. Some longtime fans said this was the moment they finally gave up, not just on the episode, but on the show. It wasn't just bad, it was a turning point. The kind that leaves a mark, and not a good one. Segment 8. No classic Simpsons feel. The weirdest thing about Lisa Goes Gaga is that it barely feels like an episode of The Simpsons. Classic episodes often ran 2 stories at the same time. One would focus on Homer or Bart getting into trouble, while another would follow Lisa or Marge going through something more personal. That back and forth rhythm gave the show energy. If one part slowed down, the other kept it going. It helped everything feel balanced and full. But this episode didn't have that. There was only one story. It was all about Lisa and Gaga. Everyone else was just there in the background. Homer had a line or two, Bart had his one moment with the blog reveal and vanished. Marge stood by Lisa and gave a few reactions. Moe had one short scene at the end, but none of them mattered to the plot. They could have been cut and nothing would have been changed. Even with guest stars, the show used to stay true to itself. Think of Homer at the Bat with baseball players. It was goofy, yeah, but it still felt like The Simpsons. The town, the humor, the characters, it all made sense. Lisa Goes Gaga didn't feel like that. It felt more like a pop concert that just happened to be animated. Segment 9. The Moe ending was the final straw. If the episode felt strange already, Moe's ending sealed the deal. Right at the end of the episode, Moe walks up to Lady Gaga. He tells her that he feels sad too. It's meant to be a small moment, maybe a final joke, but it doesn't land the way the writers probably hoped. Gaga responds by saying that she is not that good. She can't fix everyone. Moe says nothing. Many fans were confused. Was it supposed to be dark? Was it supposed to be ironic or sad? Was it a joke about how broken Moe was? Or was it just lazy writing? It's hard to tell. and that is what made it worse. The tone was already uneven throughout the episode, but this final moment tipped it even further. Instead of leaving fans smiling or with a clever joke, it left them feeling weird. In the final scene, Mo gets hit by a train. Just like that. No build-up, no meaning. Just a bleak, sudden moment that lands with a thud. It didn't feel like a Simpsons ending. It felt like the writers had no idea how to close the story. To this day, fans still bring up the Mo scene when they talk about this episode. Segment 10. It symbolized the bigger problem. It wasn't just a one-time misstep. It was a warning sign. Lisa Goes Gaga didn't break The Simpsons, but it showed just how far things had already slipped. By this point, many fans had started noticing changes. Characters weren't acting like themselves anymore. Some felt too flat. Others were turned into over-the-top versions of their old selves. And the smart, emotional writing that made the show great, it had started to fade. Instead of strong stories, the show leaned on cutaway gags and quick jokes. Instead of real growth, characters reset every episode. Emotional scenes started to feel fake or rushed. It was all surface with nothing underneath. This episode pulled all those weak spots into one place. Lisa didn't act like Lisa. The family stood around with no purpose. The story had no clear rhythm. The message was loud, but it didn't say anything new. Even Lady Gaga's appearance, while exciting for some, felt like a distraction from the fact the show had stopped doing what it used to do best. And that's what hit fans the hardest. Lisa Goes Gaga wasn't just another bad episode. It was a moment that made fans stop and say, what happened to this show? Even longtime fans, the ones who stuck through the rough seasons, felt let down. This wasn't a misstep. It was a signal that the show had changed, and not in a good way. It wasn't just forgettable. It was unforgettable for the wrong reasons. Want to see the kind of episode this tried to be and failed? Go watch Lisa's Substitute. Then come back and tell us which Lisa felt real. And if you're wondering how the writers got here, we're about to look into that too. Stick around.